What's up, my name is Payne, and welcome to my channel where I try to become the best at Yu-Gi-Oh! Emphasis on try. This is episode 7 of Locals, and this Locals is going to be a little bit different. This weekend is going to be a sneak peek weekend because of the new Doom of Dimensions pack that's coming out. And at first, I thought you actually had to win to get packs from the new box, but I was wrong. The local shops was actually selling them early if you came and participated. So obviously, I had to show up. And hearing about this made me super excited to go to the tournament. So much so, I created a brand new deck for this tournament, and I figured this be the perfect time to showcase it. And the deck I chose, Utopia. 1730, Utopia is one of my favorite boss monsters of all time. I also think that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal series is one of the best series out of all of them. So it was really only a matter of time. But you might be thinking, why now? Because in the new Doom of Dimensions pack, there's one card that it seems like nobody else gives a fuck about, but it helps the Utopia Onomatopoeia deck so well. Onomata Kage. And all of Kage's effects are very useful. It's considered all of the Onomat card names. It can special summon itself from hand or graveyard, and it can bring my Xyz monsters from the graveyard back into the extra deck. But obviously, I don't have it yet. So I gotta show up early to the local shop and buy a box and hope that I pull it. But lucky for me, it's a common. Yes, sir. So even if I don't pull it, hopefully I can get it from just trading. And with that being said, let's get into this shit. And if you enjoy this, make sure you leave a like and comment. And also, there's a new feature on YouTube called Hype. So if you press the button, it'll hype up the channels, and so that way more people can see it. I greatly appreciate it, and it'll help out. With that being said, that's enough yapping. Let's get to action. Alright, going into the first duel, I'm going against Garrett. I've went against him a couple times on the channel, and this time he is going first. He pops Pot of Peace, sending 6 extra deck monsters to the graveyard, and I respond with Ash. He then activates Ketsu, and he adds Lucius to his hand. Then he normal summons Lucius to add Faye to his hand. Then he activates Faye's effect, discarding herself, so now he can use Lucius and Perulia to fusion summon into Gulamel. Then chaining Lucius to set Flame. Then after thinking, he activates Rahu, sending Perulia and Urgula to the grave to fusion summon Arthalion. Then activating his effect, adding Lucius back to his hand, and then chaining Will Urgulus since it was used as fusion material to set the trap Draco Tail Horn. Then he activates Urgula's effect, putting itself on the bottom of his deck to add Faye from his graveyard to his hand. Then he ends his turn and I draw. I take a look at my hand, and then I activate Pickup, adding an Onomat card to my hand, and then he negates it with Flame and then uses Flame's effect, putting a Draco Tail card in his graveyard to his deck to draw a card. I then activated 7th Tachyon, revealing Big Hand from my extra deck to add Goblin Bird to my hand. I then normal summon Goblin Bird and activate his effect to special summon another Go-Go-Go monster, and then he negates with Ghost Bell. That Ghost Bell hurt so bad, I pass and he draws return. Then he activates Draco Tail Horn, sending my Goblin Bird back to my hand and putting his Flame in the bottom of the deck to draw 1 card. He normal summons Lucius and activates its effect, and I respond negating it with Effect Veiler. Then he discards Faye, activating her effect going into his full combo, and I had nothing else to do, so I surrendered. I'm going first, and I activate Onomatopoeia. By discarding 1 card, I can draw 2 Onomat cards. He takes a look at it, and then he ashes. Then I activate Dododo Warrior's effect, special summoning himself as a level 4 by sending 1 Dododo monster from my deck to grave. Now with Wallows active, I activate Go-Go-Go Glove, special summoning itself since I control a Dododo monster. And now with 2 level 4s, I Xyz summon into Utopic Sage, and then I activate Utopic Sage's effect, attaching 2 materials to special summon a Zexal Soldier for my deck. And now I activate Dododo Warrior's effect. Since he was used as detached material, now I can add Zubababa Knight from my deck to hand. I then normal summon Zubababa Knight and activate his effect to add Zubababa Coat to my hand. And since I have a Zubaba on the field, I special summon Coat from my hand. Then activate his effect to special summon a Dododo or Go-Go-Go from the... Now I'm going to use Zubababa Knight and Zexal Soldier to Xyz summon into Utopia. And since I use Zexal Soldier Ascended to Xyz summon Utopia, I can add Rank Up Magic Utopia Force to my hand for my deck. Then he activates Mina in his hand, sending 3 monsters from his hand to the graveyard to fusion summon into Arthalion. Then he activates Arthalion's effect, adding Ash and Ghostbell to his hand from his grave, and then he chains with Malulu and Lucius to set Rahu and Flame, and then targets and negates Utopia. And now I activate Hyper Rank Up Magic Utopia Force to rank up Utopia into number 99 Utopia Dragonar. Then I set 1 and pass. He draws for turn, and then he normal summons Lucius, and then I activate number 99's quick effect to Xyz summon any monster from my extra deck that's ranked between 1 and 100. Now I Xyz summon Baguska. And now all monsters are forced to be put into defense position and their effects are negated. And now he links summon into SP Little Knight, and then he targets my number 99 for banish. Then I activated Imperm, which was a bad move because then he activates SP's second effect, banishing my Baguska in itself. And my number 99 still gets banished. Then he activates Ketu to add Pan from deck to hand, and then he immediately fusion summons using Pan and Mina to fusion summon into Gulamel. After he chainlinks 1 Pan, chainlinks 2 Mina, then chainlinks 3 Gulamel to pop my Utopic Sage. Then he sets Rahu with Mina and then Ketu with Pan, then pops Zubaba Coat. And since he sent 2 monsters to the graveyard at the same time, he special summons Arthalion back from the grave. Then he activates Rahu and uses Bell from his hand and Urgula from his deck to fusion summon into another Arthalion. Then he activates Arthalion's effect to add Pan back to his hand from grave, and then I chain with Nibiru. Then he activates Urgula to put him at the bottom of the deck to add 5 mana to his hand from grave. And then he ends his turn. I draw an SP Little Knight and Babushka goes back to the field. Babushka is destroyed because he has no material. I have nothing in my hand, so then I surrender. Going against my second opponent, I'm going first and I activate Onomatopoeia, discarding 1 to add Go 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 Goblin and Gaga Gaga Gambara Knight. Next, I normal summon Goblinberg, and then I use his effect to special summon Kage. And then I use them both to Xyz summon into Gaga Gaga Girl. Next, I activate Gaga Gaga Girl's effect to detach 1 to add Little Utopia from my deck to hand. And since Go 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 Goblin was used for detach, I activate his effect, adding Dododo Warrior to my hand. Then activate Dododo Warrior, sending Dododo Go 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 Glove from deck to grave to special summon itself. And since I control a Dododo, I activate Glove to special summon itself from grave. Then I use the both of them to Xyz summon into Utopic Sage, and then I use his effect to detach 2 materials to special summon Zexal Soldier from my deck. Then I use Gaga Gaga Girl and Utopic Sage to Xyz summon into Utopic Future, and then I overlay Utopic Future to Xyz summon into Utopic Draco Future. Next, I activate Gambara Knight from my hand, revealing 1 Gaga Gaga Xyz monster to special summon himself and special summon Little Utopia from my hand. Next, I use Zexal Soldier and Gambara Knight to Xyz summon number 39 Utopia. And since Zexal Soldier was used to Xyz summon number 39, I can add Rank Up Magic Utopia Force from my deck to my hand. And then I activate it, targeting number 39 Utopia to rank him up into number 99 Utopia Dragonar. And now, since I have Little Utopia on the field and it's considered all Onomat names, I special summon Kage from my graveyard. And then I use the both of them to Xyz summon into Utopia Double. And then I activate his effect, detaching 1 material to add the spell card Double or Nothing from my deck to my hand. And then I use him to rank up and special summon Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray. Then I activate his effect, detaching 1 material to equip Zexal Weapon Pegasus to himself. Next, I activate Dragonair's effect, detaching 2 material to special summon number 38 from my extra deck. And since Gambara Knight was used for detached material of an Xyz monster, I can add Goblin from my deck to my hand. Then I set 2 and pass. He draws for turn and then he activates Drop Loop, sending 3 monsters from his hand to the graveyard. And then he targets Dragonar, Draco Future, and Hope. And I respond activating Unbreakable Xyz Barrier, negating his Droplix activation. Next, he normal summons Lolipo, and then he uses it to link summon into Snatchy. Then he activates its effect, but I negate with Draco Future, and then he surrenders. Going into game 2, my opponent is going first, and then he activates Engage to add Hornet Drones to his hand. He activates Drones to special summon a token to his field, and then he links it off into Kagari, and activates her effect to add 1 of his spells from his graveyard to his hand. I hit him with the Fake Veiler to negate his Kagari, but then he activates another Engage. He adds drones to his hand from his graveyard, and then he activates it to special summon another token. He uses the both of them to synchro summon into Cupsy, and then he activates his effect to add 2. And I respond with Ghost Ogre to destroy it. And after he drew his 2 cards, he really just started going crazy and comboing off. And now I think about it, I wonder if I played my hand traps any differently, if it would have changed anything. Let me know down in the comments what I could have did better. He sets 2 and then he passes. I draw for turn and then I analyze his field and then I normal summon Zubaba Coat and he responds with Gravity Collapse. This card is so crazy. He negates my summon and then after that couldn't do anything, so I surrender. Going into game 3, I'm going first and I started to do my combo line that I did in the first game, but then he hit me with Nibiru. I didn't have anything to pass his Nib, so I set 1 and I passed. He draws for turn, and then he thinks about Link summoning until he realizes how big my Nib token was, so then he sets 2 and he passes. I draw for turn, and then I activate 7 Tachyon, revealing Giant Hand, and then adding Goblinberg to my hand, and I add Nib back to my deck. I normal summon Goblinberg, and then activate his effect, special summoning Kage. And since I have Kage on the field, then I special summon Zubaba Coat. Then I Xyz summon into Gaga Girl, and then I activate her effect, adding Onomatopoeia to my hand from my deck. Then I activate Kage's effect to special summon itself from grave, but then he hits me with Callback. Then I activate Onomatopoeia, discarding 1 and adding Dodo the Warrior and Gambara Knight to my hand. Then I activate Dodo the Warrior, sending another copy of itself to special summon himself. And then I got hit with another Nibiru. And this is the moment where I mentally shit myself because I realized that I didn't activate Goblinberg's second effect when he's detached for cause to add an extra body to my hand. Meaning I can't even Xyz summon, so I activate Gambara Knight's effect, revealing 1 Gaga Xyz to special summon itself, and use his secondary effect, switching my token from defense to attack position. We add up the token's attack to 8600, and then I go in a battle phase, and then I attack over his Nib for 5600 damage. Then I set 1 and pass. He draws for turn, and then he activates Minion from his hand, and then he activates Drone from his field. And then after that, basically, he just went into full combo with no interruptions. Leading him into activating Yummy Surprise to add my Nib token and my back row back to my hand. He synchro summons Lollipo, and then he special summons Cookie and Snatchy to his field from his grave. He goes into a battle phase and he attacks over my Gambara Knight with Snatchy, and then he attacks me directly with Cookie. Then he goes into main phase 2 and Link summons into Inari. He sets 1 and then he passes. I draw for turn and I had absolutely nothing, so I surrender. GG's to him. Going against my third opponent, he's going first. First he activates Morganite, and then he activates Nightmare Pain, destroying his Yubel in his hand to add Lotus to his hand from his deck. And since he destroyed the Yubel, he was able to special summon Terror Incarnate. Next, he normal summons Lotus, and then he tributes it to special summon Spirit of Yubel. Then he activates Spirit's effect, and then I negate with Imperm, and then he activates Incarnate's effect, destroying Spirit to special summon Yubel. Then he activates his Yubel, tributing his Incarnate to special summon Ultimate Nightmare. And after that, he ends his turn, and then he activates Lotus's effect, special summoning itself. I draw for turn, and since I don't have any monsters on my field, I special summon Zexal Soldier. And then I normal summon Goblinberg and activate its effect, special summoning Kage. Then I Xyz summon into Gaga Girl and activate her effect, detaching 1 material to add Onomatopoeia from my deck to hand. Then I activated Onomatopoeia, discarding 1 and adding Dodo the Warrior and Zubaba Coat to my hand, along with Little Utopia with Goblinberg's detach effect. Then I activated Dodo the Warrior, sending 1 Dodo monster from my deck to grave, so that way I can get bodies on the field, leading me into Xyz summoning into Utopia. And since Zexal Soldier was used, I can grab the rank up magic spell. Then I use a magic rank up spell on Utopia to Xyz summon into Dragonarch. Then I activate Zubaba Coat's effect, special summoning Go Goblin from my graveyard to my field. And then I Xyz summon into Ouroboros and use his effect, targeting his pain. And then he activates his Lotus, changing his effect to destroy his Yubel. Then his Yubel activates, allowing him to special summon Incarnate. Then I activate Gombara Knight, revealing one Gaga Xyz to special summon him, and then I can special summon my little Utopia from my hand. Then after that, I Xyz summon into Utopia Double, then activating Utopia Double's effect, adding double or nothing from my deck to my hand, and then he immediately Xyz summons into Utopia Ultimate Leo. Then I activate Gombara Knight's effect. Since it was used for detach, I add Go Goblin from my deck to my hand. Then I activate Utopia Ultimate Leo's effect, equipping Zexal Weapon Pegasus to it. Then I activate Dragonair's effect to special summon Babushka to my field. So all monsters are put into defense and their effects are negated. Then I set one in path. He draws for turn, and then he activates Slash Draw, and then I activate Unbreakable Xyz Barrier, negating it, and then detaching 2 materials to destroy his Nightmare Pain. Then he activates Stonehenge to special summon his Yubel from the graveyard, and then he ends his turn. And during my phase, Babushka is destroyed since it has no material, and then I draw for turn. I activate my Ouroboros' effect, targeting his Incarnate to add back to his hand. And then his Incarnate goes off, special summoning his Ultimate Nightmare from his deck. Then I activate Go Goblin's Detach effect, adding Dodo Warrior from my deck to my hand. Then I Xyz summon with Gaga Girl and Ouroboros, Xyz summoning into Utopic Future. And then I overlay that with Utopic Draco Future. Then I put Utopic Leo into attack position, and then I normal summon Go Goblinberg and activate his effect to special summon Kage. Then I put Dragonair into attack position, and then I Xyz summon into a big hand, and then I pass my turn. He draws for turn, and then I activate Unbreakable Xyz Barrier, banishing it to target one Xyz Utopia monster and attach it to Dragonair as a material. Then I activate Dragonair's effect, detaching 2 material to special summon number 38 Hope from my extra deck. He gets Incarnate in his hands and Yubel in his graveyard and shuffles it back into his deck to fusion summon Phantom. Then he puts all of his monsters into attack position and go into battle phase. He attacks my Draco Future with his Ultimate Nightmare and then activates his damage effect. Then I negate with my Leo Utopia, and then he responds activating his Phantom of Yubel's effect, and then I negate with my Draco Future. Then he attacks my Leo Utopia with his second Ultimate Nightmare and then activates his damage effect, but then I negate with my Giant Hand. And then he passes and I draw for turn. And since his Yubel monster's effects are negated while they're on the field, I go into battle phase and I attack for 5,000 with Utopic Leo and then 3,000 with Draco Future. Going into game 2, my opponent's going first, and then he activates Song Morganite and then banishes it to add Gripping Morganite to his hand and then place 1 card at the bottom of his deck, and then he activates Gripping Morganite. Then he normal summons Dark Beckoning Beast and activates its effect to search, and then I negate with Imperm. Then he normal summons Yubel and ends his turn, and at the end phase he tribute this Dark Beckoning Beast. I draw for turn, and then I activate Onomatopera, discarding 1 card to draw 2, and at this point I was able to fully combo off because he didn't have any interruptions. I Xyz summon Leo Utopia and activate his effect, detaching 1 to equip Zexal Weapon Pegasus. Then I attack his Yubel with my Leo Utopia, and then he activates his Yubel's effect, but then I negate with my Draco Future, and then I take control of it, and then he surrenders. GG's. Going into the 4th duel, my opponent's going first, and he normal summons Sage with Eyes of Blue. Then he activates his effect, adding Maiden with Eyes of Blues to his hand. Then he link summons it into Spirit. Then he activates Spirit's effect, adding Mausoleum from his deck to his hand. Then he activates Mausoleum, targeting his Spirit, and then sending a Blue Eyes White Dragon from his deck to his grave. Then he tributes his Spirit to special summon the Blue Eyes from his grave, and then he normal summons Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Then he uses the both of them to synchro summon into Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Then he activates Monster Reborn, bringing back his OG Blue Eyes, and then he special summons Maiden with her effect. And then he synchro summons into another Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, and then he activates Foolish Burial, sending Stone of Legend to his grave to add a Blue Eyes to his hand. He sets 2, and then he passes. I draw for turn, and then I activate Lightning Storm, destroying his back row, but then he negates with Primite Drill Beam. Then I activate Onomatopera, discarding 1 to add Dodo Warrior and Goblinberg to my hand. Then I activate Imperm, targeting 1 of his Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Then he activates its effect, tributing itself to special summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Then I normal summon Go Goblin. Then he activates his second Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon to tribute itself into his Crimson Dragon. Then he activates Crimson Dragon's effect, special summoning Cosmic Blazar Dragon. My Goblinberg's effect continues, special summoning Glove from my deck. Then Glove activates, special summoning Zubaba Knight from my hand, activating his effect to add Zubaba Coat from my deck to my hand. Then I use Goblinberg and Glove to Xyz summon into Giant Hand. But then he uses Cosmic Blazar Dragon's effect, banishing itself to negate the summon. And since I have a Zubaba on the field, I special summon Zubaba Coat, and then I activate his effect, special summoning Glove from my graveyard to my field. Then I activate Kage's effect, special summoning him to my field, and then I Xyz summon into Gaga Girl. Then I activate her effect, attaching one material to add to my hand, Unstoppable Xyz Barrier. Then I activate Zubaba Knight's effect to add to hand, but then he uses Callby to banish negate. Then I Xyz summon into Zexal Soldier Ascended Sage, and then activate his effect, detaching two material to special summon a Zexal Soldier from my deck, but then he negates with Ultimate Spirit Dragon. Then I use Gaga Girl and Utopic Sage to Xyz summon into Utopic Future, and then I use him to Xyz summon into Utopic Draco Future. Next, I activate Dododo Warrior, special summoning itself by sending another copy of itself to the grave. Then I activate Glove's effect. Since I have Dododo Warrior, I special summon him from the grave. Then I Xyz summon into Utopia Double. Then I use Utopia Double's effect, discarding one to add double or nothing from my deck to my hand. Then Xyz summoning into Dragonar. Then I use Dragonar's effect, detaching two materials to special summon Hope from my extra deck. Then I go to battle phase and I swing over his Ultimate Spirit Dragon, and then he attempts to activate his effect, but then I negate with Draco Future, and then he surrenders. Going into game 2, my opponent's going first, and I activate Fawalo. Then to start off, he activates Wishes, discarding his Blue Eyes White Dragon to add Sage and Roar to his hand. Then he normal summons Sage that add Maiden to his hand, and then he link summons Sage off into Spirit. Then he activates Spirit's effect, but then I negate with Imperm. Then he discards Maiden to activate True Light. Then he activates Roar to special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon from his deck. Then he banishes Wishes to equip Neo to his Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then he activates True Light to set Ultimate Fusion, and then he sets 2, and then he passes. I draw for turn, and then I activate Lightning Storm, and then he negates what Primite Drill be. Then I normal summon Goblinberg and activate his effect, and then he imperms. Next, I special summon Kage, and then I Xyz summon into Gaga Girl. Then I activate her effect, discarding one to Cert, and then he activates Ultimate Fusion, taking both of his monsters and fusion summoning into Tyrant Dragon, and then popping Gaga Girl. Gaga Girl's effect still goes off, so I add Onomatopoeia to my hand, and then Goblinberg's detach effect goes off and I add Dododo Warrior to my hand. I activate Onomatopoeia, discarding one and adding Zubaba Knight and Gombara Knight to my hand. And at this point, I just keep summoning bodies into the board until I Xyz summon into Utopic Sage. Then I activate Utopic Sage's effect, discarding 2 cards to help me go even further into my combo, leading me to Xyz summoning into Utopia. Ascended Sage adds Rank Up Magic Utopic Force to my hand. Then I activate it, targeting Utopia and Xyz summoning into Dragonar. Then I activate Gombara Knight, adding more bodies onto the field, leading me to Xyz summon into Ouroboros. Then I activate Ouroboros' effect, detaching one to send his Tyrant Dragon back to his hand, and then he banishes his Neo to negate and destroy my Ouroboros. Then I activate Lil Utopia's effect, special summoning 2 level 4s from my hand with different names, and then I Xyz summon into Gaga Magician. Then I activate Dragonar's effect, attaching 2 material to special summon Utopic Future Zexal from my extra deck. Then I activate Rank Up Magic Utopic Force to attach itself to Future Zexal as material. Then I activate Gaga Magician's effect, detaching 1 material to special summon Ouroboros from my graveyard. Then I overlay with Utopic Sage to Xyz summon Utopic Future. Then I Xyz summon Utopic Draco Future. Then I go on the battle phase and my Zexal Future has 9,000 and I swing over his Tyrant Dragon. Then his Tyrant Dragon activates its effect and I negate with Draco Future. Then he activates True Light, special summoning Blue Eyes White Dragon and Maiden from his graveyard. Then I attack his Maiden and his Maiden goes off, special summoning another Blue Eyes White Dragon. He draws for turn and then he activates Wishes, discarding 1 and adding Sage and Bingo Machine to his hand. Then he activates Bingo Machine and he chooses 3 monsters in his deck and I choose at random and he adds it to his hand. Then he normal summons Sage and activates his effect, and I negate and steal with Draco Future. Then he Xyz summons into Indigo Eye Silver Dragon and it negates all monsters effect. Then he goes on the battle phase and attacks and destroys my Zexal Future, which is now at 0, and then he activates Blue Eyes Jet Dragon to special summon it. And he destroys his Sage that is on my field, and then he targets my Draco Future to add back to my hand. Then he link summons into Heavenly Spheres, and then he brings back Blue Eyes White Dragon and Maiden, and then synchro summons into Spirit Dragon. I draw for turn, and then at this point we were kind of just playing, going back and forth, and then we ended up running into time, and then it counted as a double loss, but GG's to him. That's Yu-Gi-Oh! Locals episode 7. If you enjoyed that, make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you hit that new hype button also. I had a lot of fun like always, and unfortunately for me, I didn't play as well as I wanted to, but that's okay. It's my first time playing this deck in person in front of people, and there's a lot going on, so I just know what to do better next time. I ended up getting 8th place out of 12, which I'm grateful for because I was able to recognize these mistakes, and now I can try better for next time. And also a pretty cool update, in one of my older videos I mentioned that my local shop is doing like its own personal tournament. That means I'm looking forward for the future videos to be a little more competitive. I'm ready.
Are you sure about that?
That's the end of the video. If you stayed to the end, I greatly appreciate it, and y'all be safe out there, man. Peace.